What is up, guys? The breakdown is back, and today we're talking about in-camera transitions, specifically when you should use them and when you should not, because it can get pretty crazy. So, not quite like that, but if you can do it properly, like properly, then it's one of the easiest ways to pump up that creativity and fun factor in your videos. Don't believe me? Let's check out one of the masters at doing this.
Just me and you today, little guy. Hey, look, a waterfall.
So at first glance, it might be a little overwhelming, not only to think about all the transitions he's doing, but also just watching it can be a bit overwhelming too. But more recently, he toned it back a little bit, and then a pattern began to emerge. There's really only a couple situations where you really need to use these in-camera transitions, which means that you don't have to worry about them at all while you're going out to shoot until you get to those situations. Oh, and before I begin, if you're not familiar with Jesse Driftwood, not his real name by the way, he's based in Ontario, Canada, and he became the king of Instagram stories when he began to upload these epic, highly produced stories. He's starting to upload more to YouTube now, and since the beginning of 2019, he's gone from 20k subscribers to about 100k now. Good job, Jesse. Alright, let's get into it. If you guys learned something and you want more breakdowns of masters at work, click that subscribe button, like this video so the YouTube algorithm can do its thing. So one of the best places to use an in-camera transition is to introduce something.
It's New Lens Day!
As you can see, if we go back, he tells us that it's the lens day, kind of implying that he's getting a new lens, right? And then he does a downward whip pan, which transition into a downward POV shot where he's running down the stairs. So this is great for wanting to add energy into your shots, because the whipping is not just for the transition's sake, because he whips into it and then he follows it with so many fast cuts. You're really going into the next scene excitedly with him. So in the next couple of examples, he's gonna do a similar thing where he says something and then he does an in-camera transition and then it shows you something. Let's take a look.
Trying to catch the last bit of sunlight with Zach, and it's fading fast, and we're probably gonna miss it, but can't say we never tried.
So in this one, he almost does the exact same thing. He talks about chasing the remaining light of the day, and then he whips down to transition into the next sort of montage of what he sees when the light is running out. Let's do one more.
Years my parents picked this up from a garage sale.
So he actually does the exact same thing with the whip down again, but this time instead of showing what he's doing, he's actually showing us that thing that he wants to show us. All in all though, basically, the next time you are out vlogging or shooting a video and you want to introduce something, consider doing something like what he did. Shoot yourself talking to the camera, and then when you're done introducing what's about to come, do exactly like him, like a whip down, and then when you go to the next location, set up your next shot with the same camera movement. So perhaps you're shooting a camera and the next shot will start like this, and you start recording and you whip down, landing on the camera, so that the two shots then can link up together in the edit. Oh, and by the way, just because the examples that I picked were all whipping down, you can really whip towards any direction you want, up, down, left, right, as long as the direction is continued in the next shot that you're transitioning into. Everything should be just fine. So the next situation where in-camera transitions can be useful is when you're just shooting maybe a montage of B-roll, or there are things that, while significant, may not visually be that interesting. Adding some of these in-camera transitions can really spice things up. So there are a couple of in-camera transitions in this sequence, but the first one, kind of the good old cover up the camera, make it all black so that you don't see what's happening, and then you go into a different location and then you know, unreveal it. But this time, instead of covering it with your hand, he's actually taking off his shirt and throwing it to the camera so that it covers it up. And in the next shot, we see that he starts up with the camera facing towards the back of his shirt, which is also black, which allows him to transition nicely from the first shot to the second shot. That's a fun way to do it. Instead of just covering up the camera with your hand, you can cover it with other things, or you can move the whole camera close enough to some things that it turns black. As long as basically the image is covered, you're free to really transition into anything that you want. Let's take a look at the first one again.
Just me and you today, little guy.
I'm so good at pretending. Keep on smiling in my tempo.
Hey, look, a waterfall.
So you see in the first shot, he's ending the shot by panning to the left and onto a white wall. And then in the second shot, he's panning from a mostly white shot of the snow and then coming up and then doing the next shot. You see the two shots get connected together by how you end the first one and start the second one. And because they're both white, it just works. Oh, I love this one. So I hope you guys are getting super inspired and get creative with how you guys are planning your shots. It can be really fun, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming, because remember, there are only a really couple areas where you can use them. And if you learned anything at all, I would really appreciate it if you gave me a like and a subscribe. It would really help out with this channel. And if there's anything that you want me to go deeper, let me know.
So this is that proper birthday dinner that Kathy was talking about yesterday. It's at Miku. It's supposed to be super nice. Thank you. How is it?
Put your hands on my back, boy. Lead me to the brightest of my day.
Well, that was delicious.
So if you ever come here, get the seafood taste. It's really good.
A lot of people and a lot of gum.
Actually, after I say this, suddenly I feel like I don't want to chew this.
Coffee.